Today we're going to be looking at 10 wide receivers that you can get off waivers for week 9. We're going to be looking at the news, the facts, the data, the trends to see whether or not you need these players for your fantasy football team. But what you need to do right now is click that subscribe button. Tap it with your finger on your phone. Click it with your mouse on your computer, whatever you need to do to get the job done, because we're going deep on the waiver wire every single day this week. We're going deep dives on players. We're doing these lists, finding players to help you add to your teams, whether it's a shallow league, deep league. We're here for you. We're going to help you set those lineups, get those trades done, and everything else. Click that button. Stop missing out. But let's look at these 10 wide receivers here. Romeo Doubs, last 2 games, 7 targets per game, 19.4% target share. He's running a lot of routes. He's getting you about 11 to 12 fantasy points per game. He's getting you some opportunities. Last 2 games, 11 points, 11 points. Bye week, 1 point, 18 points. A little bit volatile, as you should expect this offense to be. 1, you got Jordan Love, and 2, you got 3 wide receivers there running a lot of routes, seeing a lot of targets. But the upside's good. You're getting some consistency here. May not be grandiose, but it's the waiver wire. You're getting a guy here who's getting targets, who's getting opportunity, pushing a 20% target share. A rule of thumb is if a wide receiver is seeing a 20% target share, you got to pick him up. He's close to that. He's getting you some upside weeks. He's getting you some routes ran. He's doing some things. He's worth the pickup, and he's rostering close to 50% of leagues. So a lot of people are onto him already. So if he's on waivers, he's a good get. Michael Wilson. The thing about him is he's been a waiver wire dandy all season long, but he's trending up. We're up to an 88.1% route participation rate, and that's over his last 3 games. Prior to that, he was around 75%. So things are trending up in workload. He's running more routes right now, and he's up to a 14% target share over his last 3 games. Prior to that, it was around 12 to 13%. So things are ticking up a little bit. We had that splash game against the Niners a few weeks back. A lot of people jumped on the train then. But this is a rookie who's slowly developing and getting better throughout the year. We're going to get better at quarterback if Kyler Murray gets back in there. That means the targets should be better. That means the offense will be different. But still, we're seeing a slow ramp up here. That's looking pretty good. We're getting some opportunities here. Last week, he had 58 yards. Week prior, 26, 62, 18. Fantasy production, not where we want it to be, but still, if you're looking for workload, Michael Wilson's getting it. Demario Douglas is going to jump into more opportunity, as he should. Kendrick Bourne is out for the year with an ACL. Last 3 weeks, though, saw 22.4% target share, running a fair amount of routes, seeing all right amount of air yards, though, 31.5 per game. Not too great, but we're getting target share. We're getting opportunities. Might start seeing some deeper targets now that Bourne's out, but he's going to be getting more opportunities now. Should be looked at a little bit more in the offense. And if you need a guy who's getting targets around a 20% target share, Demario Douglas might be your man. Now we're looking at Quentin Johnston. He's been a downer this year. Hasn't been great, but things look like they're starting to come on the up when you look at the volume, you look at the stats here. Targeted on 22% of his routes, was getting targets, getting looks in this game. 6 targets, 15.8% target share, so it's okay. But that's on the Chargers. High volume passing offense. If that increases or stay the same, you're going to get some games where he hits. You're going to get that. You may not have him in your lineup, but there's going to be a game. If he keeps getting those numbers, there's going to be a game where he hits. 27 routes, 65.9% route participation rate. Everything's slowly going up. We also want to mention that Josh Palmer was banged up. He was playing hurt. Might have been a cause for some of this. He's also a volatile prospect. Volatile prospects up and down. Could be anywhere on the spectrum. Don't go off your draft analysis for him. He is on the Chargers. He is seeing opportunity. And some of these first-round wide receivers, when they do hit, it could be a little bit later. And we're seeing a little bit of a ramp up here as we're seeing a 51% snap share, 48, 54, 70%. So he is getting more opportunities. We are getting a small sample trend here. Quentin Johnston is a guy to look at. Jonathan Mingo is another wide receiver you need to pay attention to. Off and on throughout the year, we're pushing a 20% target share. We had that in 2 games this year. 16% last week against Houston. And that was an ugly game script, so you could have got more fantasy production out of that. But still, 5 targets, 8 targets, 6 targets, 7, 3, and 5 on the season per game. He gets opportunity, he gets downfield. It hasn't really materialized in any boom weeks, but still a guy you need to pay attention to because he is getting opportunity with a 15% target share on the season. Jaden Reed, the other Packers wide receiver, plays in the slot, competing with Watson and Doubs. And you know what? These Packers wide receivers are going to be up and down. That's the nature of this beast in the offense. But you can really stack that, gamble with it, whatever you want to do in your lineups, especially in plus matchups. Last week, 12 fantasy points. Week prior, 11. Then he got you 1. Then he got you 10. Also a bye week in there. Players are cheaper around the bye week. A lot of players get dropped during the bye week. Those iffy players, those players who are iffy for lineups in the back end of rosters, sometimes they get dropped and sometimes they float around there. Last week, though, 6 targets, 15% target share, ran a lot of routes, 16.28 out of the slot. 95% of his snaps were out of the slot. He's their slot receiver. He's good out of the slot. Second round draft pick. Broke out with 2 different collegiate programs. Doing good initially as a rookie right now. Getting opportunity, getting routes, getting targets. Jaden Reed's a guy to look at here. Rashid Shaheed. We've been talking about him all season long as a waiver wire dandy. And the thing about him is the air yards are the deep targets. Look at the air yards per game on that bottom chart there. We got 98, 91, 88, 142, 125. Those are on the high end. Also a 76 game. It's going to be volatile with the production, but anybody off waivers are going to be volatile with the production. His target share is okay. We got 10%, 15, 13, 19, 18 from game to game, 13% on the season. So you're getting about, 100 to 120% air yards a game, up and down due to the volatility, due to those splash weeks, possibly more like 90 to 100 if you want to be more realistic. He's averaging 86.6 on the year right now, so 90 to 100, and you're getting a 13% target share. So this is a splash week guy. This is a boom or bust player, but when he booms like he did last week, it's huge. He's not a guy that you trust. He's not a guy that you expect consistency from, but he's a guy you gamble with in your lineup because he is getting those deep targets. He's got that Will Fuller effect like we talk about. Like we wish Jameson Williams would cash in on a little bit more. But he's cheap Jameson Williams right now. He's on waivers. You can plug him in your lineup if you need to gamble. If you're hurting at wide receiver, hurting at flex, close your eyes, see what happens. Maybe you get 4 points. Maybe you get 24, 19, 15, something like that. But again, at least you got to gamble there. At least you know what you're getting into. Khalil Shakur, things are ramping up for the second-year wide receiver as he's starting to see more snaps per week, more routes ran per week. In week 8, he had a 71.7% route participation rate. Week 7, it was 43.5%. Previous to that, it was in the 15% range. Saw 6 targets, 15.4% target share. Things are trending up. He's getting more workload. Dawson knocks it out. They might be in 11 personnel more. They may have to use him more. He's getting some deeper targets. He's getting some opportunities. He's got good ball skills. He's going to be a thing down the line, especially in those plus matchups where they got to progress to the other wide receivers. Shakir is a guy you need to pay attention to, if not just pick up. Now we're looking at Rashad Bateman. We're going deep here. Week 8, he ran 20 routes, 62.5% route participation rate, 45% last week. This was the highest route participation rate he's had all season. 17 ADOT. Remember, he started the season coming off that Liz Frank injury. We were expecting him to start the season off slow, to the point that last spring I was saying, hey, don't buy Rashad Bateman now over the summer or over the spring. Wait till the season starts because it's going to start off slow, and then you can buy him for free in Dynasty Fantasy Football. That happened because that's what happens with players coming back from Liz Frank injuries. Now we're starting to see a ramp up in the snap share. 39%, 48%, 48%, 62%, also 62% route participation rate. Things are trending up here. The target share is going up a little bit. We're getting some opportunities. Is he going to splash? I don't know. But again, we have a very talented wide receiver here. The offense here is very up and down when it comes to volume in the passing offense. But the last spot on your roster, and if you're in a deeper league, 12, 14, 16 teams, even bigger, Devy leagues, whatever, and you need to buy a player, pick up a player, Rashad Bateman, cheap player who's trending up here in workload. Treylon Burks, Will Levis, throwing deep balls, not caring. Throw Godding it up back there. That's what you want to see for a guy like Treylon Burks. That's what you want to see. You need a quarterback out there who just does not care, drinks mayo in his coffee, and just slings rockets. That's what Treylon Burks needs. He's coming back from injuries, had a knee issue, caused him to be ineffective this year, had injuries last year, caused him to be ineffective, but he flashed. He's already flashed at the NFL level. We're not expecting him to usurp DeAndre Hopkins. The thing is, we're gambling on Will Levis keeping this role and just slinging rockets all over the field with his eyes closed. And some of those going to Treylon Burks. Remember, Treylon Burks was a first rounder, was a heavily coveted wide receiver prospect from Arkansas. Good size, adjusted athleticism, can get you yards after the catch. Physical wide receiver. Has been hit with injuries. A lot of them. A lot of conditions, too, over the short term of his NFL career. A player to pay attention to because that Will Levis factor is very interesting. And I'm very interested in players who are getting deep balls. Another wide receiver I don't have on here that I want to talk about, Jahan Dotson. Had a good week last week. Saw some production. He's been up and down all season. The targets haven't been running as fire as we thought so, about 5 to 6 per game. But if the trends increase, then he will be more valuable. He is a very talented first-round prospect, but this Washington team likes to spread the ball around, so it could be up and down from here on out, even if he does a little bit better, but he's another player to look at. So you got 11 today, but let me know what you think in the comments below. Make sure you hit that subscribe button on the way out. I want to thank you for watching. Catch you on the next video.